Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So, obviously, now it's been a couple days since the League Cup final, which obviously Chelsea lost 1-0 in extra time against Liverpool. And I basically thought I'd make a video to kind of just give my thoughts on the match, how we played, what went wrong for us, and where we go from now. So before I get on with the video, I just want to say a massive congratulations to Liverpool, and I was extremely impressed. I mean, considering how many young, basically kids that Liverpool ended up playing, I thought they were incredible, and I thought Van Dijk especially was he basically did a real captain's performance, and for me was man of the match. So anyway, again, massive congratulations to Liverpool, deserved to win it in the end. And yeah, it just wasn't good enough from Chelsea. But anyway, let's get into it. So our lineup was basically, I mean, obviously we've had a lot of injuries throughout the season, but we basically this is the team which we put out was basically as strong as we could have made it over the last few months. So we started off with obviously Petrovic in goal, Chilwell on the left, Colwell and Disasi as our centre backs, and Gusto on the right. A midfield three of Caicedo, Enzo, and Gallagher, and then a front three of Sterling, Jackson, and Cole Palmer. So I mean, the lineup was practically exactly as I expected it to. And then we went over to the Liverpool lineup, and when the Liverpool lineup came out, I definitely had a lot more confidence. Obviously, there'd been a lot of rumours about players like Salah, Nunez, Jota, all missing. And as soon as it was confirmed, I mean, you look at the two teams. Obviously, they still have a very experienced backline, but going into this match, looking at the two teams, I thought this was the best opportunity Chelsea could have ever imagined to potentially win the first trophy in 2 years. So we go into the first half, and I mean, look, with most cup finals, what you tend to find is the first five, maybe up to 15 minutes. It's a very cagey affair. No one wants to concede a goal early. People basically spend the first 10 minutes trying to work out what the opposition are like, see how good they're playing, all that sort of stuff. But in the first 10 minutes, Liverpool started straight away in an aggressive way. But Chelsea were absolutely awful. First 10 minutes or so, you could just see the nerves on every single one of the Chelsea players' faces. Every single time, I think the amount of times that, like, I think Disasi had one or two moments where he slipped because he just completely lost his footing. Gusto had a really poor touch, and the amount of times that players passed to him and the balls rolled out. We also had players misplacing passes. I mean, and we had a few players going in for tackles, which was just very unnecessary. Caicedo being one, very lucky not to get booked early on in the match. But you could just see that this was probably the biggest moment in, I would say, most of these players' careers. Obviously, we got like a World Cup winner and a couple of Champions League winners, but on a whole, this starting 11, this was probably the biggest moment for most of their careers, and they kind of it was because of the two lineups. They were, if anything, slight favourites. Um, but yeah, we started off really badly, and what in cup finals especially, right? You want an experienced team. You don't want a team that are just very nervous. You want to have experience in that team so you can kind of calm everyone down in the kind of difficult moments. Liverpool had a very young squad and a very young team, but the one thing that they really didn't lack, the one thing that they had an abundance of, because of Van Dijk, Konate, Luis Diaz, they had leaders in their team. They're leaders in their starting 11. Chelsea really didn't look like we had any leadership or any experience in this team, which is frustrating when you consider how much money we've spent. But as the first half progressed, Chelsea began to get into the match. They kind of weathered the storm in the first 15 minutes, and they began to really start to kind of pick a few passes together, and get a few good moments. And we had one massive opportunity around the 19th minute. Gallagher comes down the right hand side of Liverpool's right hand side, our right hand side, passes the ball. It's a really poor touch from Sterling, poor control from Sterling, but the ball ends up going to Cole Palmer just outside like the 6 yard box, and I don't know how he doesn't score. I just these are the types of moments where you need a player who is so clinical, because Cole Palmer had an opportunity. The first 20 minutes that would have been he had to score. He had to score. And unfortunately for us, that was a really, really just a sign of things to come for this team in this match. I mean, it was such a golden opportunity, and it was an amazing save from Kelleher, who dived to his left, strong palm out. But the fact is, Cole Palmer shouldn't have given him the chance to save it. It was a comfortable height. It was a reflex save more than anything else. It was an amazing save, but you can't miss that. You've got to score, and that was just the first chance. Then around, I think it was like the 31st minute or something like that. Cole Palmer passes the ball through. Jackson is through. Obviously, I think the linesman put his flag up, but like we have VAR. He passes the ball. Sterling then scores. Obviously, it goes to VAR. And turns out he maybe millimeters offside. I would love to have seen the line being drawn personally. I mean, but actually, you know what? I cannot wait for the day that automated line calls happen, which I don't know why they don't, but like that just gets rid of any controversy. Because the angle which we saw on the TV, he looked comfortably onside, but obviously you've got to hope that they got it right. But then it just really sort of just it began to give me a lot more confidence in this team. I thought, look, they're playing better now. They're stringing passes together. We look like we're beginning to take control. And then half time comes around and it's 0-0, and you're like, look, it's being a draw, being level at half time is probably fair. Liverpool had a really good start. We ended really well. That's fine. Hopefully, we can kind of continue to play the same level in the second half, and hopefully, we would end up scoring a goal. Look, we go into the second half, and it's deja vu. I mean, it's shocking. Like it's like we've restarted the game again, and our players are petrified because once again we're doing exactly the same as we did at the start of the match. We're making poor decisions, really poor passes. Our players are consistently slipping over, and you're just there like this. This is just the play again. This is where experience comes in, and this is what we really lack. At that point, you can see the players are getting nervous. You want I mean, if Thiago Silva hadn't been injured and he was playing, I think he would be the perfect example of our version of Van Dijk, where he can just steady the ship, just like Van Dijk was doing for the Liverpool team the entire time. But but Chelsea again, yeah, poor, conceded free kick. I think it was just before that the hour mark. Free kick comes in, Van Dijk scores, but then obviously it goes to VAR and it turns out Endo was offside and then he interfered with play. I mean, like if Endo was onside, the goal would stand because it's not foul. However, because he interfered with play, he was offside and he blocked Colwell off. Then they were always going to give it. We saw it earlier on the season at Brentford where the same thing happened. So it's consistency. But I'm not annoyed about that. What I'm really I think frustrated with it when you see and it didn't just happen in this free kick. It happened throughout corners throughout the entire match as well. And Konate and Van Dijk are probably their biggest threat, I'd say. They're like 6'3", 6'4", big, strong defenders. And for some reason, Chelsea are putting players who are like 5'10", marking them. Like we got Colwell, we got Disasi, who again big, maybe 6'2", something like that, tall, big defenders. But for some reason, I don't know if it's the players who decided this, I don't know if it's the coaching staff who decided this, but for some reason we have players like Chilwell, Gusto, and obviously later on Mudryk marking these Van Dijks and Canates, where it's a complete mismatch and you're never going to win. But anyway, so yeah, we got extremely lucky with the fact that their goal got ruled out. Again, like I said, if Endo had been on the side, their goal would have stood and they would have been 1-0 up. But fortunately for us, Endo was offside and we got away with it. So just like in the first half, we began to really then start to build momentum, take control, create so many opportunities. And you could see it because we brought in Cuckoo on about 10 minutes later. Most of Liverpool's substitutions involved taking off their experienced players, bar like Van Dijk and Konate, and bringing on players who I think literally played in like under 20s recently. Literally, I think the other day. I think one or two of them who have recently played in the under 20, under 21, so very young, inexperienced players. And then I think around the 75th minute, Cole Palmer on our right hand side cuts the ball in, great pass, a little flick from Gallagher, and just it hits the post, and you're just so frustrated because that's another massive opportunity. We have another great opportunity, then a ball comes into the box, and Enzo tries to backheel it instead. If he had just looked and saw Palmer was behind him unmarked, could have controlled the ball, passed it to Palmer, we could easily have been 1-0 up. But it was a really just a frustrating moment for Chelsea because it was just consistently getting these big opportunities like we've gotten all season, and once again being so bad in front of goal. We really, it's crazy. We've spent so much money in the last 2 years since this ownership have come in, and we haven't bought a striker. Like we haven't bought a kind of a consistent top level striker. Our recruitment has been absolutely shambolic. But anyway, right at the end of the 90 minutes, Palmer has like here's the ball halfway between the halfway line and their goal. Literally passes the ball to Conor Gallagher. Gallagher's through on goal. His touch isn't the best. Kelleher comes out, does great goalkeeping, but again, you have to score. You just have to score. Didier Drogba, a player who scored in every single one of the finals he played for Chelsea. Like we're missing someone like that. And Gallagher, just shocking. Just that was his third big chance that he missed, and he was brilliant outside of that. But considering we needed goals, yeah, it was just poor. And then we go into extra time, and I was quite confident, which is stupid to say now, but I was confident going to extra time because we had complete control of the match. We were in control. We were creating the chances. We were cutting through Liverpool. We were finding these opportunities. We just weren't taking them. And considering all Liverpool could do is bring on these like under 20 kids, and we still had players which we could bring on, may not have been that experienced, but they were still Premier League players. I was definitely confident that we will find a way through. But extra time, extra time was, I think the only way to describe it was an absolute embarrassment. I mean, like I said before, all Liverpool could do. I mean, at the 90th minute, right before extra time happened, they took off Gakpo, they took off McAllister, they took off Robertson. They brought on Dans, McConnell, and then obviously Simicast. But that's it. We brought on Madueke, again, not the most experienced. Mudryk, not the most experienced, but again, they are Premier League proven players. Um, Again, they brought on just kids essentially. But when we go into extra time, only one team, like we had all that momentum, we had all that sort of control. But in extra time, only one team tried to win the match, and that was Liverpool. And that's why I say at the end of the day, Liverpool deserves to win it. We didn't deserve it. Because we didn't. We should have won the match in 90 minutes with the chances that we had. But the second it went into extra time, only one team tried to win the match. Only one team had the guts to try and go for it, and that was Liverpool. And again, I keep harping on this, but I'm going to go back to it. You really, we really needed experienced players who've been there and done it before in finals, because when I think when it got to extra time, our players just got more and more tired. I don't know why, but they got more and more tired despite barely playing much this season, and they got more and more nervous. And again, I really have to say, I think Van Dijk was exceptional, not just because of his goal, but I really feel him playing just helped galvanize that team, and in extra time, help the young players feel they had the freedom to play, and he instilled just a belief in them. Whereas our players just faded, completely faded. I think a couple of minutes before Liverpool's goal, Petrovic, who again, by the way, both goalkeepers were exceptional. But for us, Petrovic made it an absolutely superb, like sublime save with his feet, and then smothered the ball, and that was amazing. But then after that, Liverpool get a corner. Simicast takes the corner, and it's just stupid. I mean, you could say Mudryk maybe should have attacked the ball, but at the same time, Disasi lost Van Dijk. It was poor defending, and it was an embarrassing result in the end, considering everything, considering how many chances we absolutely bottled. Um, and yeah, that if we're being honest, that was our best chance. That was our best chance to win silverware because we won't get the chance to play against Liverpool that depleted again. I mean, we're in the FA Cup, which we're playing Leeds today. But I mean, we, by the way, we might not even beat Leeds. Leeds are in incredible form. Having lost a match in 2024, the history between the two clubs. The fan bases will be up for it. Leeds players will be up for this match. They will be sensing they can beat us, especially after that performance. But if we do somehow manage to win this match, we still have to deal with the fact that Man City is still in this competition. Liverpool is still in this competition. And you still like Newcastle, United, and a few others. But anyway, yeah, that's my take on kind of the match. Um, so again, yeah, congratulations to Liverpool, massively deserved. Shocking from Chelsea. Yeah, just shocking. One more thing I do want to talk about though is just our recruitment over the last 2 years has been so poor. I don't mean that we bought really bad players because I think a lot of these players in this team, I think they're brilliant players. I think they're very talented players, and I think under the right circumstances, they can develop into world-class players. My issue with the recruitment is we have focused so much on youth, i.e., 20, 21-year-olds, maybe 23 at most. Like basically anyone under 25. We've focused on that. We've focused on building players, building a squad full of young players. You don't win. You don't win tournaments. You don't win leagues. You don't win cups. You don't win with just young players. It just doesn't happen. At least it doesn't happen very often. We've focused so much on these young players that, by the way, which they may never hit their potential. But in my eyes, in my opinion, Chelsea environment isn't the place where you hit your potential. The best teams in football are the teams with a core group of players who are in their prime, who you kind of sprinkle in a few youngsters alongside so they can develop without pressure. What we're doing now is we're getting all these players, young players to develop, but there is so much pressure because they're all developing at the same time, and there's no one around them to take the pressure off. Chelsea used to have a core of Czech, Terry, maybe Ashley Cole as well you can throw in there, Lampard and Drogba, and you throw in the youngsters alongside them. It would mean that you play with these players, right? And you can develop. But like if you mess up, it's okay because there's a brilliant player next door to you. Right now, what we have is a bunch of youngsters who, if they mess up, there's another youngster behind them who also might mess up, and then that could really dent their confidence and that could really their development, stall their development. So our recruitment has been, especially for a big club, has been absolutely shambolic. We've spent so much money. Obviously, there are rumours that we could be in trouble with FFP. Um, I mean, I don't really take all these rumours seriously, but yeah, this is. I mean, we we now have the FA Cup, like I said today against Leeds. I mean, that is huge. That is a gigantic match. We have to win to try and get refocusing. This is such an important match, and Leeds are a very impressive side right now. Like I said, I don't they haven't lost in 2024. They're playing so well. They scored a ridiculous amount of goals and haven't conceded that many. They're playing amazing football, and they will be up for this match. They'll come into this game with full confidence that they can beat us at Stamford Bridge. And would it surprise me if they do? No, they're more than capable of beating us because we're more than capable about capitulating. And this is huge. This is also a huge moment for Poch because I mean this has been a disastrous season. Um, it's just been awful. Outside of that, I think I think we're a few points off seventh place at the moment. So yeah, we're 4 points off seventh, but obviously have a game in hand. Seventh obviously being the Conference League. So we still can potentially get into a European spot. Um, but again, we've missed such a golden opportunity to win silverware, and it's just it's just not forgivable. It's just not acceptable for a club this size to miss that sort of opportunity. And again, this is the first. This will probably be like if we don't win silverware this year, this will be the first time since 2004 we've gone like 2 years without winning any silverware. So yeah, the Bowley and Clearlake era has gone off to a disastrous start. This summer is going to be very interesting to see who we sell and then who we try and buy because we need a striker. The striker is the most important position in this club right now, and we need an experienced striker who you can guarantee will score you goals. So anyway, guys, that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all tonight when we've hopefully beaten Leeds.